Yep, so I was the Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer for the university, for Virginia Tech, for about 11 years. Absolutely not something that I had planned on doing, but I was, through some different circumstances, was asked to do the job, and didn't say yes immediately, but kind of checked it out a little bit more. I knew something about it, but checked it out more to make sure it's something that I could do, that I would have some passion for. Took the job, and yeah, it's definitely more management and leadership. I think it helps to have technical background to sort of understand what some of the issues are, what some of the trade-offs are, to not be bamboozled by people that are, technologists or vendors. But it's definitely not a technology job in itself. If you look at a lot of successful CIOs, whether it's higher ed or in corporate or government, a lot of them are technologist background, but a lot of them are not. If you're not from a technology background, you have to sort of gain some appreciation of it. And if you're not from a business and management background, you have to sort of make sure you sort of have developed kind of, I think, leadership skills and that sort of thing over the years. And then certainly in higher ed, there are very successful CIOs that were psychologists or foreign language, all sorts of different backgrounds that figure out both and are very successful. I think the biggest change with IT is kind of subtle. It's really the fact that everything today is IT. So if we just look at Virginia Tech, IT is an important part of teaching and learning. And it has been really an important part of a lot of our teaching and learning going back to the early 1980s with the beginnings of distance graduate engineering education, the PC initiative in the College of Engineering, software tools and all that. But certainly with the COVID-19 pandemic, it became absolutely essential, and not just, for some people, but for everyone. IT really sort of carried universities and K-12 to varying degrees of success through the pandemic. It's very important in research. A lot of research depends strictly on computational capabilities. All the work in AI, ML for sure, but in other areas, very computationally based. Even where the research is not computationally based, there's a lot of use of IT and computing for data analysis, data collection, all sorts of things. And then if you look at running a university or running a business, there's really almost no part of the university that doesn't rely heavily on IT systems. So it's really that, I think the biggest change in IT, which has sort of driven a lot of things then, is the fact that it's so pervasive, it's everywhere. And then that led to things like the cloud. So cloud and subscription services are a big change in IT that have happened over the last 10 to 15 years. And it's really changed the way that companies can deploy tools. It's changed the way that universities can deploy to where we can do that a lot more quickly. It's also changed how we have to manage budgets in a constrained environment, and costs are very different. And it's not just that costs are higher, but costs become much more consumption based, as opposed to I budget for something, I buy it, and then I use it, and I don't have to pay for it anymore. Now it's subscriptions, right? You used to buy a TV and you were done. Now you have to pay your Netflix or Amazon Prime bill every month. And sort of the same thing has happened with IT in general, to where we have to pay subscriptions every year, cloud services, constantly, rather than just sort of buying a computer or buying a piece of software. The pervasiveness of IT also means that it's an attractive target. And so I think the other big change in IT over the last 30 years, but it's only accelerated, it's really accelerated in the last few years, is with growing cyber threats. And so cybersecurity has to be an important part of everything we do in IT, at the university level, at department levels, at individual levels. The amount of money and energy that goes into cybersecurity is huge. We just have to do it. The big area in IT now obviously has to be, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Lots of promise, lots of challenges. I think that there's the potential to change just a lot of the way that we do IT. For example, how do we leverage AI for cybersecurity? There are definitely tools for monitoring network traffic now that are much more capable, much better at detecting anomalies and potential attacks because they're using machine learning to do that. There's a lot of discussion in higher ed about, generative AI and how do we use AI in teaching and learning, or how do we not use it in teaching and learning. But we've got some things to figure out, but there's definitely some advantages of doing that. Plenty of challenges, though, if you look at privacy issues that come along with it. If you look at, how do we use it appropriately in the classroom? And then at really sort of a global scale, how do we provide the power and energy for all these giant GPU clusters and data centers around the world?